Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead allies.
Well, gentlemen, I greet you with the primal off-season scream. How is everybody? This is what we do. In Chiefs Kingdom, when you win back-to-back Super Bowls and it's April and it's the dog days of the off-season, you sit around with your buddies, you have a powwow, and you talk about how great you have it. In the words of Eric Bischoff, damn, it feels good to be king.
Speaking of that, I have been getting emails. I've got letters to my house. I don't know how they found my address. They're texting me. The fans are calling it. You've got these 2 Super Bowls trophies behind you, Noah. Where's the third one? This ended in February. Well, gentlemen, it has arrived.
Oh, yeah.
3 for Super Bowl 58 has arrived.
The unveiling.
Yeah!
Back-to-back champs, baby.
Dynasty.
Okay, now where is the fourth one?
I know you always ask that, Brian. I wasn't alive then. I don't know. You want me to spend $500 on something I wasn't alive to see? I can't do it. I can't justify it. I'm sorry.
That does spark a good debate, though, Brian. Do you, like we all experienced 3 Super Bowls, but there's 4 in the franchise's history. So how do you, in your mind, kind of organize that?
Well, how I organize it, I'm sorry to interrupt, Brian. I want you to answer it after me. How I organize it is it's 4 more than Buffalo and Cincinnati. How do you organize it, Brian?
I mean, we won it.
Well, what was your favorite memory of it?
So, but it, like okay, you bring up memories and you bring up not being able to watch it. All right, fine. Look, that we live in an era now where I can go back to 1993 on YouTube and watch everything that I used to watch. I've been watching Rap City. I've been watching Def Comedy Jam. I've been watching the 1993 Joe Montana led Chiefs. Like, I'm talking about the whole game with all of the commercials. Okay. and they have Super Bowl 4 in its entirety on YouTube, along with some select games from that season too. So yes, I can live through it again. I can watch it and I can celebrate because my father lived through it and he told me about it, which is why I am a Chiefs fan today.
And one of the reasons that I am a Chiefs fan is our guest coming up here, folks, on Arrowhead Allies. It is former running back Donnell Bennett. Donnell, it's great to have you. We're going to get ready to see you in just a couple days down in South Florida, my friend. Are you ready for Noah and I to be in Fort Lauderdale once again?
Yes, sir. Y'all better be ready.
You know it.
That's a better question. Are we ready, Clint?
Yeah.
I know. How you doing, man?
Hey, Donnell, when they go down to Florida, man, you got to take them to the hood, man. You got to take them to the good eating spots too. You know, scare them off a little bit where it might be a couple gunshots or something, dog.
Scare us off.
It's all hood down here, bro. Everything hood.
Hey, Donnell, let's get right to it here. If you want to go ahead first, Noah. Okay.
No, go ahead, Shane. Yeah.
Donnell, let's get right to it. The game's changed so much in the last 30 years. 30 years ago at this time, the Chiefs drafted Greg Hill in the first round and you in the second round. 30 years later, the game of football has advanced so much. It's nearly a different game. But I was 24 in 1994, so I remember that era well. And when you were drafted, we were happy to have a solid fullback come in, and you all also became a running back with Tony Richardson as your fullback later on. When you look, Donnell, when you look and see how much the game has advanced, running backs aren't getting their money now. I mean, running backs aren't getting paid. Does that bum you out that running backs are not getting paid, or you just say, shoot, I got my money, I'm not tripping? How do you look at that?
Well, it's all relevant, I think. I think for a while there, the running backs, kind of got a little lax, and they got a lot of two-back systems. And, guys would tap their helmets to come out. Like when we played, I'm not tapping my helmet to come out because I know if T. Rich get in there, it might be the third quarter before I get back in. So once we started, getting into that kind of system and mode, and teams saw that they can get away with it, that's kind of what happens. It's unfortunate, but the running game in the game is still paramount. It's still relevant. It's still a huge part of it. Right behind a great quarterback, you need a good running back that can pass pro, catch the ball out of the backfield, and run the ball. That knows protections. Like those guys are still going to be a huge part of the game, even though the game is faster and it's more predicated on throwing the ball. You still got to have that threat as a running back to hit that safety in the mouth if he's coming off the edge. They bigger, or to be able to make a move on the safety and on the option route and give me 5 yards or 3 yards in the first down. So, it's not going to go anywhere. They playing a game with it right now, but, we're in an age now, like Patty Mahomes is a different dude. Like he taking the place of great running backs and a great left tackle because of the way he played the game. So,
Right.
Uh-oh. Don't tell Lance Twidwell that.
Well, I mean,
I got words.
Go ahead, Lance.
No, Donnell, I just want to say first and foremost, Lance Woodwell here. It's nice to officially and formally meet you here. Grew up in the 90s, watched you play. I was a big fan. So this is a really good moment for me, man. I really appreciate you taking the time with us tonight.
love it, bro.
Hey, I know you're coaching. I know that you're into coaching. I know that you're giving back to the game that, you had a lot of great experiences in, and I'm sure there was a lot of ups and downs in your career and things that you had to overcome, and you're teaching people through that, young people. And because of that, you are changing and helping people stay out of trouble, whatever the case is. Like I said, you're making an impact out there. When it comes to inside the field, though, because we talk about the evolution of the game, Shaggy brings that up. Something I've always been interested in because I've actually developed a really good friendship with former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, and he does the same thing. He coaches as well. And something I'm always asking him is, when it comes to the evolution of the game, when it comes to, being careful, because we know that this is the most controversial time to be coaching at any level of football, because everyone is microscopic on protecting players. And it ain't like it used to be. Like you said, I ain't tapping my helmet out now. Now they're encouraging that in some forms of fashion, especially at positions like running back, the one that you played. How do you go about doing it when it comes to coaching that position in particular, the game as a whole, when it comes to this generation of coaching and almost having to circumvent some of these things or working through the evolution of football? I mean, how do you get your point across? How do you get to where you feel at the end of the day, you felt that you taught football in its purest form to your players at practice on that day?
You got to deal with the facts. A lot of times the coaches deal with emotions, and we try to say that this generation is so much more emotional. I don't think it's emotional. I just think they're exposed to more things, so they have more knowledge. So, but when you boil it down to, at the end of the day, I tell people I can explain the game of football to you in 45 seconds. There's 4 fronts. There's 30, 40, 50, 60. There's 5 coverages, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it on defense. Offensive line, you're going to zone block, man block, slide right, slide left, turn right, turn left. ISO, dive, lead, so on, and 12 or 15 routes. That's all the game of football is. But what makes the game so incredible is how, and even now in today's game, the thought process that goes into, you have to not only know your position and what you got to know what the other routes are around you, because now your 5-yard out may turn into a 10-yard out if you got a go on your side. So you got to understand the game. You got to read coverages more. You got to understand that. But the simplicity of the game never changes. So what I usually do as a coach, and when I'm talking with the kids, I stick to the facts. Listen, I don't know where you're going to college at, but I promise you this. If you follow the regimen that we put in front of you, you're going to be a better person for it. Not only on the football field, you'll be a better football player, but you're going to be better academically. You're going to be better at the crib. You're going to be a better husband. You're going to be a better man. And we focus on building that. Once we get the man, the game of football is simple, bro.
We had a cameo. Who's that?
That's my dad's of my son's lacrosse team. I'm out here watching them in lacrosse practice. I don't know how to turn the camera around.
Yeah.
We believe you.
You good? Yeah, you good. We don't need to see the lacrosse. You good? So Donnell, like I see you out coaching, and I coach Kansas City Seminoles here in Kansas City youth football, and some kids are born for certain positions, and you decipher that in practice. And with the disparities with the pay that we just got through talking about with running backs, the poundings that they take, pause, and also with the shortage of their careers, would you encourage, like, let's just say you got a 18-year-old son, would you encourage him to go to college and continue to be a running back, or is it just all about getting in the league?
Coleman was a running back right there. So.
Yeah, I have a son right now that's at Rice, and 100%. I encourage him because I say this: if you are willing to do what it takes to be an NFL running back, you're gonna be successful in life. You're gonna be a good husband. You're gonna be a good father. You're gonna hold a good job. You're gonna do the things that it needs to be done. And then from the football aspect, with the injury and all that other stuff, you got to find your purpose. I love the game of football. I mean, football was my life for a long time, but the game of football really wasn't my purpose. My purpose was to create a platform for me to do what I'm doing today, and that's to witness and minister to these kids and coach them up and be an inspiration. But 100%. I feel like the game is safe enough. I feel like if you're willing to work hard enough to put yourself in the position to be a pro, what comes along with it, you'll be able to handle it as well.
See, I'm glad you said that, because I'm sorry to cut in, Clint, but this is like a life thing for me, because football builds character in so many ways. And he mentioned it about you being a good husband, like what running, and what he means by that with running back, you make so many sacrifices for the team. Like you gotta block, you gotta be able to catch, you gotta be able to run, you gotta be fast, you gotta be physical, you gotta be tough, and you gotta take one for the team on every single play. And what does a husband do for his family? So I'm glad that you said that, because football equates to life, man. It really does. It builds character.
100%.
That's awesome, Brian. Yes, glad you stepped in there. Never been married, never had kids. Obviously, that's a profound thing to say, and it's something that. Sometimes it's something I don't know a whole lot about. I understand, of course, the wonderful leadership that coaching provides, but it extends on. Football extends on into life. That's a good lesson there. Donnell, we're going to see you this weekend in Fort Lauderdale. Talk to us about taking part here in SFC's The Catch Pro-Am that's going to be going on this weekend. We got concerts, we got parties, we've got interviews. Donnell, this is going to be crazy this weekend, and we're going to see you down there. How excited are you to take part in this?
Super excited, man. Anytime you get an opportunity to get with the fellas, man, you guys come down. I love hanging out with y'all. We got good to eat. They already said that, and we're gonna figure it out, bro. We're gonna see what they're doing out there in the ocean, in the deep blue.
Hey, don't Trick Daddy got a restaurant down there in the Miami area?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take them to Trick Daddy restaurant, man. And before you go, I got to tell you, I know you done heard this before, but you look just like Kodak Black. You look just like him.
I said that, bro.
Get out of here with that disrespect, dude.
Donnell, before I get my question in, and try to capture this show back in and reel it back in, to use a fishing term, because before it goes off the rails here, we've got a question from Steve Harold. What are some of your favorite football memories, Donnell?
Woo. Man, I got so many memories, bro. The biggest thing is the guys, bro. Playing with Marcus Kimball and T. Rich and Will and guys like Victor Riley that just passed away, man. Like those are the things that I remember most. The game. Yeah, if we get to talking about it, yeah, I'll remember some plays, here and there, and some losses I've had here and there. But the biggest thing is the guys, man. Jimmy Ray, Marty, the guy he was, the conversations we had, like there's nothing more important than those things to me. And that's one of the biggest things too, like I was saying before, with family. Like from being a player, I learned that it's not 50-50 on the team. Because when we played, if the center misses a block, I'm not saying why you missed the block. I'm giving 110% because he was only able to give 90. Tim Grunhard played with bad knees, but he's giving whatever his 100% was every single play. So whatever I got to give, I was willing to do it. And I learned that early on, which helps me in my marriage because it's not 50-50. When she is 90%, I got to be 110. If she's 70% one day, I got to be 130, and vice versa. So, like, those are the things that resonate in my heart and in my mind and in my life from the game, from being in Kansas City.
Absolutely. Well said there. And Donnell, before we let you go, before we get you out of here, the NFL Competition Committee met this offseason and they took away the hip drop tackle. So I want to get your thoughts on that. And then I want to see how many yards we can add onto your career for every time you were tackled via hip drop, because now that's outlawed. So we've got to add a bunch of yards onto your career.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that was legal when I was playing. And I don't even know how or when it snuck back in there. But, like, there's no place for that in the game. I mean, I understand that, these guys are bigger, faster, and stronger and all that. But, hey, listen, it's a business decision that you have to make. If that's what you want to do, you can't go to Apple and change how they put their programming together.
Well,
I've tried. Yeah, that hasn't worked out for me so well.
Yeah, like that's just a part of it. If you make a decision to play that part of the game, like, shoot, when I played, the linebackers was 260, 250.
Levon Kirkland out there.
Yes, the safety 6'3", 240, bro. To go in there and hit those guys were business decisions. And, like I was at a deficit sometimes when I'm blocking Big Chester or blocking Salamur. And some of them got. You think I wanted to hit Neil Smith coming off the edge when we slide? Absolutely not.
On AstroTurf too.
Yes, but you got to get there and hit him.
Cortez Kennedy coming through the line.
We played the Deacon, not the Deacon, but Green Bay.
Minister.
Oh, you talking about Reggie
White.
The minister of defense.
Coach, it was a preseason game, bro. I was so happy that I was not starting that game. Because if they would have slid and I had to block him, I mean, I'd have went up there and hit him in the mouth. But, bro, that's
you just didn't want to.
That's what it is, though, bro. But there's no place for that type of stuff in the game because you're looking to hurt people.
Donnell, it's been a pleasure. We're so glad we were able to grab you. Thanks so much for taking time from practice. You're always such a family man, and can't wait to see you, man. It's gonna be a great time. We got to get. It's getting about to be some bad weather in Kansas City, so we're escaping down to you, buddy.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, man. Leave all your jackets and sweaters. Don't bring nothing but flip flops and shorts.
Yeah, I can do that. We'll be there, Donnell. We will see you. Thank you so much for coming on, and get ready to bring home some billfish here this Friday, man. We can't wait.
Let's do it, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. See you soon.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime. Always welcome.
Do it again. That's Donnell Bennett. You remember him as a running back here in Kansas City from 1994 into 2000. And like Shane said, at one point became a feature back here. It was kind of crazy back in the 90s, after the Marty era, the way they would kind of interchange with Kimball Anders, and then they tried Donnell. But there's a lot of different things they did at the running back position. But Donnell Bennett, I don't know, Brian, if you'd be a fan of your Seminoles. He was a University of Miami Hurricane, so I don't know if he would cheer for your Seminoles from afar or not.
Oh yeah, they party too much, way too much in Donnell Bennett's days.
Yes, sir.
And then he came to Kansas City with Dale Carter and later on Wayne Simmons. Yikes, Bam Morris. Ooh, yikes, Vanover. Ooh.
Brian called him Kodak Black, man.
I looked it up.
He looked. Am I lying?
No, that's the funny part, Rose. I was thinking it too, and you said it, and I lost it.
It is. I looked. Yes.
You had me dying, dude. You had me dying.
In related news, Donnell Bennett.
I just think people don't say that to his face. You're hearing Kansas City via video, so it's
Kodak. Kodak is a superstar. Like, what?
And I think Kodak's from Florida too. I think, isn't he?
Yeah, they from the same area. That's why I mentioned it. Them Florida boys.
That could have been Kodak acting as Donnell. That could have been Kodak. I'm just saying.
Florida boys is different, y'all.
Donnell is never coming on the show again, but we did have a great moment.
It was a great last appearance, if that has to be the case. So.
That's what we do here in the offseason. We're trying to have fun. At the draft's coming up, we're going to be doing a literal first round mock draft of the entire 32 picks of the National Football League coming up here, guys. But, as we're kind of swirling around, it's been kind of aside from, Rashee Rice, it's been kind of a quiet offseason. Free agency, we had our free agency freak out frenzy show. It's been a little quiet. Rashee Rice kind of, put things back in, helped us, earn a few bucks with some graphics over the last month. Thank you, Rashee. No, but seriously, we want Rashee to get, whatever needs to come. But we're in the off season. Where are we at here? Noah, I think you had.
Well, I've got these 3 out of 4 Super Bowl trophies, Brian. I need to get that 4th one. I need to start a GoFundMe for that 4th one. If anyone wants to donate, Brian, if you'd like to donate all 500 so I can have all 4.
Did they have a Lombardi trophy at Super Bowl I, the World Championship game?
Yes, in the locker room. In the locker room.
When it looked like the one we
celebrating outside, they were celebrated in the locker room.
But instead of the only reason I have these 3 is thanks to Russell Wilson, because his quote was for me to be able to go to back-to-back Super Bowls and win one of them. I think it opened up a lot of doors. Now you see guys like Patrick Mahomes who won it. It's really just us so far, but there's more to come. So thank you, Russell Wilson. Without you, I would not have these trophies. So you would have saved me $1,500.
Opened up a lot of doors. What?
He's nuts. I think we've confirmed that he's.
There's no door to open, bro. Like. You're not the first to go back to back. He didn't even go back to back. You just went to back Super Bowls. Shut up.
We won 1 out of 2. That's not bad.
Mahomes has gone to back Super Bowls twice, 2 different times. So I don't know what he's.
This is why Future dissed him on that song. This is why. Turn your click up. Look that up.
People were betting on whether that was a real quote or not too. It was about a day long. People didn't know if it was a real quote, and come to find out it was an actual real quote.
Oh yeah,
people could not believe it was a real quote.
I'm so glad it was.
But then I got a little scared. We had Mahomes in the Time 100 magazine. Got a little scared from this quote. I've looked. If I played until Tom's age, my daughter would be 19, 20 years old. I'd love to play that long. At the same time, I want to be there for my daughter. If I can do that, I'll continue to play. If I feel like it's taking away from my family time, that's when I'll know it's time to go. Tom skewed people's brains on how hard that is to do because of how well he took care of his body. So I'm about to make sure that I get rid of this dad bod if I want to play to 45. So if the Chiefs, they just need to say whatever you need to do for your family, that's fine. If you need to miss a few games, we'll take a few L's, come back when her volleyball game or soccer games are done, and we will welcome you back into our open arms, because if this conflicts in any way and he has to end early, I will be devastated, and I will hold the Chiefs personally accountable.
That's not going to happen until the Chiefs are playing in Kansas, so I'm not going to worry about that. For the next 7 years, he's going to be playing every single game, so I'm not worried about that. It was an interesting article. I've asked Pat Mahomes Sr. as well as Patrick Santanisha many times. I would say, are you sure there's no interest in playing baseball? Are you absolutely sure? And they closed the door. No, he's a football player. He made his mind up to play football. And the only reason I know the only reason I bring that up to Pat and his father and his aunt is because Pat Senior's has always said Patrick Mahomes loved baseball. He fell in love with football. And who do we compare Patrick Mahomes to? We're comparing him to LeBron, Jordan. What did Michael Jordan do after he won, I don't know, his third championship in a row? He wanted to play baseball, and his only highlight was a spring training exhibition game at the Cub Stadium as a member of the White Sox. Michael Jordan hit a game-winning double down the third base line. So I can't help think of that, and I think as long as Patrick Mahomes continues to win and be the greatest, why wouldn't he at least entertain the thought of playing for the Kansas City Royals?
Well,
think,
MJ may or may not have unofficially been suspended by David Stern, so we'll leave that one out there for people.
I don't see Patrick getting suspended.
We didn't have no DraftKings back then, so.
But in all seriousness, I'm glad this is a conversation we're having, because I saw the article and the first thing I thought about was 2 years ago when I had Pat Senior on my show, the Spoken Podcast, and I asked him this very specific question, because we know now, without question, the only real quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is being compared to now is Tom Brady. Because of the fact that he's doing things that even Tom Brady himself didn't do at the age of 28. And because of the longevity and because of the things that Tom Brady was able to do late in his career, which, by the way, he was a better quarterback in his 40s than he was in his 20s, that is why the comparison is now there. I asked Pat Senior straight up, and I'll try to find the clip for you guys and send it to you guys, but I asked him, I was like, how long does Patrick actually plan on playing? Because, of course, us fans, we want to see him play till he's 45 because Tom Brady set that precedent. Therefore, we think every quarterback's going to do that. But that's not actually the reality for most, if not almost all quarterbacks, to be able to play that long. But how long does Patrick want to play? And what Pat Senior said is that what Patrick is focused on is obviously winning as much as he possibly can, but he has achievements and accolades that he wants to reach for his own personal, to be able to look back and say that I was the best at this, I have the most this, I have the most that. So if he stays healthy, and because of the way that the game has progressed to protect quarterbacks, that is a likely scenario for him to play. So Pat basically said, don't be surprised if my son plays into his 40s. Will he play as long as Tom did? Who's to say? More than likely not, because of the style he plays and how different it is, and he plays a little bit more of a physical style than Tom. But the point is that I think Patrick is going to play as long as he's an effective quarterback. He may not always do the best, but if he's still a top 5 to 10 quarterback in the league at 38, 39, 40, 41 years old, he's going to make time for his family, obviously. But we've seen the greatest of the greats make time for their families and still lead a great career, like LeBron James, like other guys like Tom Brady himself, who's flying to New York and seeing his son do what he's doing and then flying back to Tampa and practicing, doing the things they do. In today's technology, you can make that happen. You can make that work. It's going to be a want-to for Patrick. So if he's sitting there and it's Sterling's senior year and he's in his late 30s, early 40s, he's going to sit there and go, yeah, it might be time for me to hang it up. I've won 6, 7 Super Bowls. I've cracked all the records. It might be time for me to hang it up. I think all of us would be at peace with that. But that's, like Shane said, so far away. And by that time, the stadium will be over here next to me, guys. So we got a long way to go.
Well, Kansas doesn't have much. So if that were to be the case, Lance, maybe, no population, cities. I mean, I know that's a lot. But if that were to come to that, I'm kind of at peace with it, to be honest. And Brian, I know you as a Kansas City, you are Mr. Kansas City. And that we this vote, there's a lot of stuff to it that I don't understand, a lot of demographics and things that just don't really compute to me. Lance, I know you're someone that's really in tune to this. Brian, you as well. So Brian, with this no vote, I don't think it's over for Kansas City, but I do think the Chiefs are going to do what's best for them, and it very well may be in the state of Kansas.
Well, I want to get to the stadium, but I've got to dip in to Patrick Mahomes and the whole, how long will he play thing. I got to say something on that. I'm sorry, if I may. So, when I talk, I like to associate a lot of things with life. I'm gonna try not to get too deep, because I'm like, but this is something that relates to family and football again, and spending time is a commitment. It's not just hey, I see you for a couple hours, hey, I do this, and then I leave. And that goes for both family and football. And so I take Patrick Mahomes the second, both, but we'll just use 15 Patrick Mahomes as being a ultimate family person. Ultimate. They come first no matter what. All right. God, family, football. We live by that. And so he takes his kids serious. His wife, of course, they're always at the games. He's always mentioning them. So the family means everything to him. And I think you guys are severely underestimating his commitment to his family. And maybe his commitment to football too. Because when you locked in, bro, you're locked in. There's no outside distractions, especially when you're him. Like capital HIM, when you're him, the most popular athlete on the planet. Now, I think he's overtaken LeBron James now as being the most popular athlete. And being the quarterback of the best team in the National Football League, you're on the biggest stages all the time. You have to have your shit together, period. And you see him in during the season, he's only at home or he's in the locker room or he's in the film room. So he's like, I don't even think he sees his kids as much as he would like to during the season. And you're missing out on so many things, so many integral things that you want to teach your kids on a daily basis, just walking around the house that, oh, be careful, don't do this, or life lessons that you didn't even know what was going on because you're so locked in. And so those are little pieces of things that he will miss if he plays into his 40s. And I don't see him doing that. Tom Brady, you see him getting a divorce and you see it's all over the place. And Tom Brady was a maniac about football. Patrick has that same thing, but he's a maniac about his family too. Not saying that Tom Brady isn't, but Tom Brady's never said that. Tom Brady was always like, I'm playing. I'm playing until I'm 45. He's always said that. He's never publicly said, yeah, well, if something happens, I'm just gonna stop. So we gotta cherish these. That's why I'm so big on cherishing the moments while they're here. We gotta cherish these things, dog, because Andrew Luck retired and Indianapolis Colts fans booed him. So we never know what's going to happen. There's so many examples too of early retirements, but with Patrick, it's about family.
Amen.
100% well said. And like you see even his off-season work, he's with Bobby Stroop. He's down in Texas working with the guys. He's doing the virtual meetings with the coaches and the guys. Like, it doesn't just stop in the off-season. Yes, he gets some vacation time. They go to Hawaii. They go to these fancy locations, but it's still a grind for him in the off-season. So you make some really good points there, Brian, about how he does cherish that family time. And if it's getting to become too much here, and he's accomplished a lot in his mid-30s and has 5-6 Super Bowls, you could see him hang it up before any of us are ready to, but you'd have to understand it completely. And Lance and Shane, Brian, Clint, I want to go to you guys about some of these off-season moves here. L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans. One door closes, another opens. Marquise Hollywood walks through. And then if Mahomes does hang it up early, maybe a 43, 44-year-old Carson Wentz can be the future here in Kansas City.
Yes.
And then we got a rugby player here. He's going to play running back. Andy Reid says it's a long shot, but he seems to be wired for it. So, Shane, we'll start with you. What do you make of some of these off-season moves?
I like the Hollywood Brown signing. I think he gives the added element to what we've missed since we lost Tyreek Hill, even though since we've traded Tyreek Hill, we won 2 Super Bowls. So, but anyway, he gives us that weapon. He gives us that guy that's the speed demon. But he's only here 1 year, so it's a prove it deal. It's kind of like the Juju. It's basically the Juju Smith contract, Schuster contract. So he's going to come here and he's going to play because he's going to want to get paid, but he's also going to want that ring. So I love the Marquise Brown sighting. The Zamet, it's going to be interesting. Let's just see what happens. I told you guys this before in our group chat that the Chiefs in January of 2014 took Terrell Pryor, and we all thought, wow, is he going to compete with Alex Smith? No. Andy Reid's going to turn him into a wide receiver. So that was just an experiment. He was gone when training camp started, and he went and played decent football as a wide receiver. Could this be an experiment with Zamet? Let's just see what happens.
New kickoff rules.
Yeah, new kickoff rules. It's fun and it's exciting because it's different, like the Terrell Pryor signing, but this is different because it's from overseas, and we're trying to get the NFL overseas. So that's exciting, and we'll just have to see what happens there. What do you think, Lance?
Also, Lance, before you go, who has more success in a Chiefs uniform, Luis Rees-Zammit or Bobby Scipio?
It's a tough question.
It is.
Oh,
I asked hard-hitting
man.
questions here, so.
Savvy Pescatelli didn't want none of that. I mean, what the hell, man?
Oh,
Let's start throwing
God.
some names out there. You know what I mean?
Luis
My
Rees-Zammit already put him up in the ring of fame before Savvy Pescatelli.
Well, let's start first and foremost, because I know you guys mentioned earlier that this has been kind of a quieter offseason. There hasn't been as much angst, if you will, amongst the Chiefs kingdom on the offseason, because it feels like there's always something going on. I know the Rashid situation has kind of fed us a little bit, but it's still, not as much as it has been the last few years. The biggest reason why is because the Chiefs took care of business immediately by getting Chris Jones signed. This was what should have happened last offseason, and now it's happened, and the biggest signing of the offseason took place very early. So it made everything very anticlimactic from that point on. And so everything else was very much common sense. And I include L'Jarius Sneed in this. For some damn reason, I became viewed as somebody that was looking forward to seeing the Chiefs trade L'Jarius Sneed. And in some ways, yes, I actually was. And the biggest reason why is because I wanted to see L'Jarius Sneed make generational wealth. Yeah. And he was never going to make that here in Kansas City, because Brett Veach has shown us time and time again how he handles the cornerback room. And if you looked at the way he's drafted, I don't know how anybody ever thought L'Jarius Sneed was going to get paid here. It was never going to happen. And like you just said, 19.8 come off the books as soon as L'Jarius Sneed got traded. Well, it took over a damn week, so I don't know what that was all about. But the fact is, this is a good move for all sides involved, because now the next guys are going to step up for the Chiefs. And you're going to see they're not going to miss L'Jarius Sneed as much as people anticipated initially. And I'm happy for L'Jarius Sneed to go make his money. Now, when it comes to the Hollywood Brown signing, this is the most slam dunk move the Chiefs could have made outside of the Chris Jones signing. Why is that? This was the move I was asking them to make a year ago when I was talking about DeAndre Hopkins. You're very familiar with that, I'm sure. Going and getting a difference-making veteran. Going and getting a guy that can step in and do what he did, like Shaggy said, a Juju type. We talk about all the time about, you want to get a Hall of Fame type of wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. Sure, that's great. We'd obviously love to see that happen. But let's be real here, guys. He's won more Super Bowls without a Hall of Fame wide receiver than he has. All he needs is guys that are capable of getting the job done. And I feel that Hollywood Brown is another one of those guys that comes in maybe for a year, or maybe they like him and they extend him. He's only 26 years old, former first-round pick. And we know that Brett Veach loves those former first-round picks, regardless of position. I think this is the perfect guy, a perfect asset that can come in here and get this offense humming again like they were 2 years ago with a bunch of wide receiver twos. That's what they had in 2022. I think that's what they're going to have in 2024 and beyond. And so I think that the Hollywood signing was one of the veterans I think they're going to bring in. I think after the draft, you're going to see an Odell Beckham Jr. You're going to see a Tyler Boyd or somebody like that being brought into Kansas City on a low market deal. But that's way ahead of where we're at right now. When it comes to Rashid, guys, look, it's plain and simple. We have to wait and see what happens with all this. I've been told some information because I've actually befriended a few people in the Houston and Dallas areas when it comes to criminal law and defense. Been finding out some
great
stuff.
interview on The Spoken, by the way, with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Sean Darvishi is a well-informed guy. He got me connected with a few other people that are very much in the know of what's going on. And it does sound like that there's just going to be a slap on the wrist of Rashid. Doesn't change the fact that he needs to learn from this situation. We all know that. That's beyond the fact. Here's my thing when it comes to the wide receiver. I don't want to jump too far ahead because I know we're going to talk in a second. We sit here and we talk about, Rashee Rice is going to get suspended, so the Chiefs have to make sure and take the value of the wide receiver even that more seriously in this draft. Yeah. Guys, we don't know. We don't know the extent of what the actual discipline is going to be. We don't know how long the suspension is actually going to take place, if it's even going to happen this year, because we saw Frank Clark have something go down in California in the LA district with guns on him, and it took a whole year for him to get suspended. So I think we're jumping a little bit ahead when it comes to, oh my God, let's panic and let's overreact, let's overcorrect at wide receiver. And that's just a little hint of what I have to say when it comes to this draft.
Look, I knew that the Sneed thing was coming. We all knew that he probably wasn't going to be a Chief. Besides that, I am ecstatic about all the other moves. Hollywood Brown, absolutely. Sign me up for that. Number 9, Zammit. Oh, I am so excited for him to be on the kick. He's going to be on the kickoff return, fellas. Come on. It's right there. It's going to be a rugby style kick return, which I am a huge fan of. I hope we dive into the kickoff thing a little bit later.
Love it.
Because we got to save the kickoff, dog. We got to. It's a big part of football. It's a big part of the opening of the Super Bowl. Like, I miss all the cameras flash. But anyway, besides that, I think Zamet is going to be a steal. He's fast, presumably tough, because come on, man, he playing rugby. He's playing football with no pads against other grown, big, athletic, fast men. So, like, rugby is a tough ass sport to play, though. It is, seriously. And I think with the pads and with a structured environment, I saw a couple of highlights of him, and I know it's rugby and it's not football and it's not the NFL. I get it. But the thing that you can be able to see and scout is his ability to read the holes and where to go and how to explode and when to accelerate. It's those little things that you look at, and it's like it's very transferable from rugby to football. Now, the NFL is a different beast because everybody's fast and everybody's tough and everybody's big. So I'm just excited to see what he can provide the Chiefs and how they'll use him, not only in the preseason, but hopefully he'll make the roster.
Yeah, he's going to be a running back to start out with, and I saw him running some routes out there, so that's a good decision because that was not great tape of him running routes, rounding stuff off, not very sharp. Of course, it's new to him. It's foreign to him, so he's going to have to learn it. But maybe he can in the kickoff game, and maybe just as a running back to come in here, maybe some trick plays they can work up with him or something. Maybe he can find those holes. Doesn't look like he has the sharpest cut in the game as far as this athleticism, but he does have that power. He does have that toughness, and so we'll just have to see what comes there. But Brian, do you want to say anything before we get into the draft on the kickoff rules, since I think the draft's going to kind of close us out here?
Well, I guess I spoiled what I was going to say. I just saved the kickoff. It's so important to me, and it's vital, and it's an exciting part of the game. When you're at the game and somebody returns a kick, is one of the most exciting plays in football. So just a lot of our memories too, man, are tied with the history of football. You look at the history of the Super Bowls, Desmond Howard and Super Bowl 31. Jermaine Lewis with the Ravens, like Jacoby Jones with the Ravens, man. Kadarius Toney. Well, that's a punt. Never mind that. I'm just trying to love on Kadarius a little bit today. But the kickoff is important to the game, and I'm glad that they have found a possible solution, because this is only going to be good for 1 year, and they're going to revisit it in the off season and see if they can make it permanent.
Okay, real quick, what do you guys think about the Chiefs dismissing Blaine Gabbert, your Missouri Tiger, for Carson Wentz?
That's
good with it. And that was the one I forgot to talk about, Shaggy. I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm so excited.
Oh my,
Carson Wentz. Yes, welcome to Kansas City. He's the perfect backup to
apparently he's a locker room cancer, so I don't know. You didn't want George Pickens because he's a locker room cancer, but now we want Carson Wentz who's a locker room cancer.
Bro, we're talking about a backup quarterback, dog. Look, he ain't got no skin in the game in Kansas City right now, though. The moment that he becomes any type of virus, they're gonna kick him out, bro.
Hey, Brian, don't you find it interesting when people say that he's a locker room cancer when he keeps finding jobs in the league, first of all, and two, he was literally on the team of the Philadelphia Eagles that they won their only Super Bowl.
Once they finally got him out of there, Nick Foles became the leader.
I get it. My point, though, is if he was such a cancer, wouldn't that have been wouldn't he have pulled away from that team? And because they kept rolling with Nick Foles and in fact got better, like the support he had for Nick Foles, I kind of feel that's almost unprecedented to see the leadership that I felt Carson Wentz displayed on that by having his little cane out there walking around high-fiving Nick Foles. He's coming off the field by doing the Philly. Like I felt like he was. I mean, I'm not saying dude's perfect. He's probably got some mishaps and things like that, but I'm looking at this acquisition, guys. I think he's the best by far, at least talent-wise, the best backup quarterback in the league right now. This was a great pickup for the Chiefs.
Oh, I love it.
I like Blaine Gabbert. Don't get me wrong.
Talented backup quarterbacks, but then there's understanding your role as a backup quarterback, and I think Chad Henne did that beautifully. And
it's Patrick, dog.
But we're being honest,
Patrick, dog. Come on, man. It'll be different if it was
Brody
any
Croyle?
other quarterback besides
Weir?
Patrick. Like,
Yeah.
like he's the only one with accolades in the league.
If we're being honest, this is by far the most talented backup quarterback that
I
Patrick
agree.
has ever had in his career, and this is a
Yeah.
good signing. Because Chad and he's gone. Blaine Gabbert was fine. You know, when you're looking at backups, you always have to expect low expectations. When it comes to, I mean, we're talking about a 31-year-old Carson Wentz, man. This guy at one point in this career was one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league for a short time. I like the signing, and so there's nothing negative to me because, like I said, like Brian was alluding to, this locker room can handle the worst of them. And they have. So I think if
Why don't you have
Carson's
George
an asshole.
Blaine Gabbert did a good job of putting the coat on Patrick Mahomes when it was cold outside.
I love the way he did that.
You got your ring. Good job. Thank you.
Blaine's got
legend.
2 now. Him and Brady and him and Mahomes. What a career, Blaine. And saved a couple people from a helicopter crash. He's an
Hall of Fame coat giver.
And a Hall of Fame mustache too.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it all.
We're going to get to our first round mock draft here as we hit the 46-minute mark. And I'm going to start things off. Then it'll be Clint, Shane, Brian, Lance. We'll keep going in that order. And I even made some lower thirds here. And there's no sound, unfortunately, so maybe I'll just have to do it. Like,
They did that for the WNBA draft, and I'm like, come on. Don't make that sound.
Okay, I'll pick 4. I'll pick 4. So there's 3 people going before me.
No, you're third, I think. I think you picked for the Patriots, and I know Brian loves the Cardinals uniform, so I want to make sure he's fourth.
My least favorite of all time.
Okay.
My favorite of all time. No.
And so I'm going, there's no surprise here. It's Caleb Williams. I thought maybe before Justin Fields was traded, I played around with keeping Justin Fields and maybe going like the first pick, maybe moving back a little bit, getting a Marvin Harrison and then a Brock Bowers at 9. But they traded away Justin. So this is Caleb Williams' first pick for the Bears. And Clint, you are on the clock with the Commanders.
Yeah, I saw him play last year. To me, he was the most electric player. I like to call myself Mr. Electricity. This is the real Mr. Electricity. It's Jaden Daniels going to the Washington Commanders. And when they change their name back to Redskins, we will finally look at this and look at them as a viable franchise with real uniforms and a real identity in the National Football League with Jaden Daniels at the helm. I love what he brings, and I think that's where Washington will go.
The New England Patriots go back to the University of Michigan to get their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, hoping that he can be as good as Tom Brady, the other Michigan quarterback.
Ooh.
I love that. Michigan.
How was that?
All right.
Who's fourth, Lance or Brian?
With the
Carter.
number 4 pick, the Arizona Cardinals in their beautiful reworked uniforms pick
Very
up
plain.
Marvin. Oh,
Yeah.
Quote the Commodores. Night Shift. Look that song up.
Nice.
Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Arizona Cardinals, gives Kyler Murray, woo-wee, a potential, I don't want to call this dude Hall of Fame threat. He's going to be a potential big time threat.
With the 5th overall pick, the Chargers, I'd love to give him a punter here, or a snapper,
Guard.
Yeah, but no, with the 5th pick, I think this is a pretty easy signing or easy selection for them. Getting rid of their wide receivers this offseason, I think they're going to go with LSU's Malik Neighbors.
Wow,
2 receivers. Yep. Okay.
I don't like seeing that.
I was going to say this doesn't bode well for me and Noah.
Yeah, with number 6, the Giants, they're not good at making smart decisions. That would probably be Roma Dunze here, the wide receiver of Washington, but they seem pretty unhappy with Daniel Jones, even though they just paid him a massive contract. And with Drake May falling here, I think they're going to go for another quarterback that's probably going to be a flop for them. North Carolina quarterback Drake May goes to the Giants.
Wow. So it's me?
Clint.
We're back to the Tennessee Titans, who are in dire need of an offensive tackle. And this is where it would be really exciting if you weren't picking 32nd to take one of the top tackles in this draft.
Right.
And that's going to be Penn State's Olu Fashanu, who will be the first tackle off the board.
Are you serious?
Oh, boy. Okay.
Oh, man.
That messes
Not
with
Joe
some
Alt.
drafts here.
Well,
Shane.
Actually, in my draft, Joe Alt's already taken. It's, but that's how we do it. We'll see.
Well, since I'm going to pick for the Falcons, the BPA is still on the board. I got to take Joe Alt. He's just sitting right there. And you got to take Joe Alt.
You said that very seriously, as if it was in real life happening. I like that, Shane.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Joe Alt to the Falcons.
Okay, Caleb Williams. Who are you pairing with Caleb Williams, Brian, with your Bears selection?
All right, so the Bears, they like defense, and he already has weapons with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, he'll go to the Bears.
I love it. There's the top corner. Some people think Terrion Arnold from Alabama is another one, but I've heard a lot of people even though he went to Toledo, they really love what Quinyon could do. So great pickup there. Jets, 10th pick. This is where things could get exciting. A lot of people believe in the Jets, and by a lot of people, I mean Mike Greenberg and Mike Greenberg alone. So Lance, what do we got here for the Jets at pick 10?
Yeah, so this is a controversial one, man, because I think the Jets can go a multitude of ways here with this one because they know that they just signed Tyron Smith, a left tackle, older guy. They still might need some help there, but there's also a need for tight end, and we know that there's one magnificent tight end in this draft to give Aaron Rodgers one more weapon. Their defense is solidified. We don't have to worry about that. I'm going to say at pick 10, they go with Georgia's tackle, Brock Bowers.
Tight end, yeah.
I like that.
Might be built like a tackle.
Yeah, no joke.
He ran he's not. He's very fast.
Man, okay, I think it's going to be tough. I know the Vikings have liked J.J. McCarthy, and he went off the board earlier than anyone predicted, and then Drake May. I'm not sure how enthralled that the Vikings are with a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix, and so I'm going to take the corner that Brian did not take with the Bears, and I'm going to go Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama, because they need a lot of secondary help. Their defense was a sieve last season, and although they have Sam Darnold, they're going to have to find their quarterback some other way than right here.
Oh, that's the Denver Broncos up next, guys, and we can't wait to see what's next for Sean Payton and our rivals to the west. And for Denver, it's a quarterback, and now that there's a certain player, you mentioned Bo Nix left on the board. I had Michael Penix Jr. here, but if Bo Nix is there, that Bo Nix is a picture perfect fit for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. So Bo Nix is who the Chiefs would be going up against for the next couple of years.
If the Broncos took Bo Nix, so hopefully we do something like that.
13, the Raiders take QB Michael Penix.
Oh,
there you go.
Yep.
I will not like that. I believe in Michael Penix. I really like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Michael Penix in this draft. The other three I'm not super high on, but you never know.
I can't remember. The Saints are up now.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was my man from Washington, was he taken?
Roma Dunze? No, you're Washington tackle? Yeah.
The guard. Yeah. Troy Fonatu. Hold on. Fatanu. There we go. I'm sorry. I had a slow moment right there. Fatanu.
Well, these names
guard from Washington goes to the Saints to help build that O-line a little bit.
Yeah, there's several of these tackles that they've been talking about can kick into guard, and he's one of them. So I like that move for them for sure.
All right, with the 20 or 15th overall pick, the Colts, a team that I don't think are very far off from making themselves into a playoff contender this year with Shane Steichen and the emergence of Anthony Richardson when he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need some defensive help this year, and I think they're going to go with the best cornerback still left on the board, and that is Cooper DeJean from Iowa.
Oh, Cooper is a guy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, versatile player, can be corner safety, kind of hybrid there.
He's like 6'1", isn't he?
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
And I can't believe this man has lasted this long. And so this defensive end, Dallas Turner from Alabama, just fell into the Seahawks' lap at 16. And so that is going to have to be the pick there.
That's a great pick.
Talked about him possibly going to Atlanta, but Shane, I loved your pick there because Joe Alt fell right into their lap. So things can get thrown off and people can sit longer than they think. And that just happened to Dallas Turner, but I got him going 16 to the Seahawks.
You sounded a lot less offended than Shane did, though.
Right.
She's like, you got to take him.
Well, it's the Jaguars next. And guys, we've seen that they struggled last year, even with a decent receiving core. Now you've got Ridley moving on. And so let's give them Roma Dunze, who's still on the board here. Yes.
Yeah,
we go from Roma Dunze from Washington.
Still hanging out.
Right. Okay. So the Bengals at 20.
Take Hunter.
Take quarterback Terrion Arnold.
I had him already. So
okay. I'm sorry. My bad. Quinyon Mitchell.
I think Brian took Quinyon.
Did you already take Quinion, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got
Yes, he
Cooper
went to the
Deshaun.
Bears.
Yeah. Quinion Mitchell and Terry Arnold are gone.
Okay. Damn. These freaking Bengals, I about had it with them.
They're built to beat us already, so they don't even need any help.
I know they can just probably trade out of the first round. Yeah. I kid. They take a cornerback in Cooper DeJean. No, you just took him too, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did.
Boy, I'm freaking bombing at this.
All right, Minnesota Vikings.
For the record,
Yeah.
these are all good picks.
Yeah, the Rams can run up and turn their card in, Brian.
Well, hey, give me a second. Since they're in such a wide receiver situation, they're going to take Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver.
Ooh, AD
That's a
Mitchell.
good pick. That's a good pick.
With
That
the
is a good pick. They need
the Rams are on the clock, and look, no bigger need than a D tackle for them. Byron Murphy II goes to the Rams.
That's a big man, like the one-man gang from pro wrestling days.
I absolutely love that. And Lance, we've got the
You said-
Steelers up.
You said
Russell
Byron
Wilson.
Murphy. You said Byron Murphy, right, Brandon?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah, the Steelers, a team that I think are very much in need of some protection for their quarterback because Russell Wilson loves to take sacks, so he's going to need some time in the pocket this year. I think they're going to take the best tackle who's also can play guard as well. Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. I think that's the guy that they're going to go after.
Another tackle. See all the good ones, Lance, as you're noting, like they're like gone.
They're flying off.
Keep that in mind.
Don't you worry.
They're gone now. The good ones.
We have plans.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I don't
we have
want any plans. Yeah, this was a tough one.
Dolphins.
But the Dolphins need some offensive line help. If they have any prayer, they got to give Tua as much time as humanly possible. But a lot of the guys are gone. And I'm going to have them taking center Jackson Powers Johnson because they need help all over the line. So let's start with a center here.
Gotcha.
The Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to be talking with James Bradbury here at the Catch, but they are in need of a corner. It's a big position of need for them. So with that said, we're looking at Nate Wiggins, corner from Clemson.
Nice.
Coming off for the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly onward.
So now the Vikings, right?
Texans.
At 23.
Yeah.
Okay. Texans, they've had a great offseason.
They have defensive end, receivers, running back.
They got a stud defensive minded head coach. I'm going to say he's going to stay defensive minded and get defensive end Chop Robinson.
That's a good pick.
Here's a team I wish I could give a punter to. Dallas Cowboys.
You can.
Verse, has he been taken? I can't remember.
Nope, he's there.
No.
Yep.
So look, they're gonna have some problems trying to sign Micah Parsons to a contract, and they're talking like, they got to choose. You got your Dak contract. I don't think they're going to keep him long term. You got a potential CeeDee Lamb contract. You got a potential Micah Parsons contract. You're already paying Diggs, okay? And so I'm hearing rumblings that Micah Parsons isn't well too liked in Dallas by coaches that saying he's a pain to deal with. All right, I'm paraphrasing on that. So with that being said, they go to Florida State. I know my man Jay Tuck, shouts to him. He would love this pick. Jarrett Verse, edge from Florida State. He goes to be maybe a Micah Parsons replacement in the future.
Boy, that's a good pick actually, man. Because at worst you're doubling up on the pass rush. All right, so the Packers. We're looking at the Packers here. Obviously, that's a team that needs a lot of safety help and offensive tackle because of David Bakhtiari's departure. But it feels like he's been gone for damn near 3 years. But I think the Packers are going to try to up their defense a little bit and give Jordan Love a little bit of cushion on the other side because they did get beat a lot downfield last year. I think they're going to take the best safety left on the board with Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota.
I love that. That is a good one for them because they need help in that back end. They've kind of let some people go. And they've got like Rasir Douglas, and it's just not great in that back end. So that could really help them out. Tampa Bay, they need some protection up front. They've lost some players. I know a lot of tackles have gone, but this guy they say can kick into guard. Probably he's better fit there. He's kind of lost out there on the island at tackle. Graham Barton, I'm going to go with here for them. And I just think out of Duke that solidifies them and gives Baker Mayfield some extra time in that pocket to find his Mike Evans, who we were maybe hoping would be here in Kansas City, but signed right back to Tampa Bay. So.
Nice.
The Arizona Cardinals are back on the board. We saw the receiver come off the board. We know Marvin Harrison Jr. could be very good in this league. And so we're going to go defense on this one. And we're going to go back to the safety position. And Javon Bullard from the University of Georgia, someone that we've seen play quite a bit over the last few years. And I think he will sneak into the first round here. And the Cardinals get a safety.
Good pick.
Pair him with Budda Baker. And yeah.
The Buffalo Bills take wide receiver Ladd McConkey.
Ooh.
What have you done, Shane? What have you done?
All right, the Detroit Lions, who we'll see some new uniforms from them. I will be very critical.
I'm not hopeful.
I am. I think they're going back to the 90s style, 80s style, Barry Sanders style.
Well, then I'm good.
I think they're going to do that. Oh, by the way, the Jets, perfect. I love the way they look. They had good uniforms before, but these are even better.
I love them.
The old logo.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the logo's outstanding. All right. The Detroit Lions are on the clock. Wiggins, has he been picked? I can't remember.
Yeah.
All right. Lord have mercy. All right, I have to regroup for a second. Hold on. I'm not going to Minnesota Vikings you, though. Well, look, when I was a kid, definitely one of my favorite drinks growing up. I mean, look, I drank the hell out of the blue Kool-Aid. I don't know if any of you gentlemen are familiar.
Oh, I'm a
Kool-Aid
aficionado, so I'm with
baby, you mix one blue and one lemonade, and you put actual lemons in it, ton of sugar.
Oh, I know he's okay. Yep.
Lord have mercy. With that being said, Kool-Aid tastes great. If you want to have some, it's too late. Kool-Aid. History from Alabama. He likes blue Kool-Aid too, and he's going to love those blue Detroit Lions uniforms.
Nice.
For them.
Hell yeah, man. Well, the Ravens are a team that actually have a lot more needs than people realize. They have some deficiencies at offensive line. They even need some help at wide receiver, though they took Zay Flowers last year, cornerback and edge. But we know that they're a type of team that can – they always just seem to have a rotating door at those positions, so I'm not really worried about them in the first round. I do think they want to protect Lamar Jackson as he continues to try to become more of a pocket passer, which is why they're going to go also tackle. And I think they're going to go after J.C. Latham out of Alabama.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he lasted this long, but there's a lot of good tackles here and a lot of teams in need. So that worked out well for them. And the 49ers, they're interesting. They've got, what's his name? Talanoa Funaga coming back there in the secondary. And they've got Charvarius Ward. And I know they've got Chase Young. They let him go, and so they brought in Leonard Floyd on the defensive end, and they're talking about trading Ayuk. So I think I'm going to give them a little speed here, and I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy. It's picked before the Chiefs could have snagged him up, because I know there's a lot of talk about how he could go to Kansas City, but
I'm glad they overdrafted him, not the Chiefs.
Yeah, how dare someone do that? I'm not the biggest Worthy fan. I'm good with that. I'm not the biggest Worthy fan.
Somebody will overdraft. I guarantee you somebody will. They will overdraft him, because you didn't hear his name one time until he ran that 40. People were not talking about. I'm not saying he's not a good football player, but no one was talking about Xavier Worthy.
Could be John Ross all over again.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, we lost Shane.
Yeah, he must have dropped out. I don't know what happened there, but
he didn't like that. He didn't like that Xavier Worthy pick.
No, he's like, what? I can't take Xavier Worthy with the Chiefs. I'm out. We're all going to give our Chiefs pick here. Clint, you can start us off with
that's left. That's too much pressure. I mean, I can't be tasked with something like that. I mean, picking 32nd every year, it has a certain aura to it in and of itself. It's a beautiful thing. This is where you want to be picking, short of trading out of the first round. We're not doing trades in this. We're picking right where people are slated right now, not probably how the draft will play out, but 32nd, we're going to be in Detroit. No one is going to be left that's going to be there. No one took Darius Robinson yet. He's probably going to be off the board. We probably missed the boat there. I think he goes to the Lions. But the Chiefs are going to look and they're going to say, this is where the power lies, man. The hands, where we didn't have any last year. People forget. This is what we're going to be saying in 3 years. This is going to be the McCole Hardman thing over, when they drafted him and Tyreek Hill. People forget Tyreek Hill. We didn't know what was we don't know about Rashee Rice. I don't know that plays even a huge factor here, but we talked about rebuilding this receiving room. Brett Veach has done so much to build this roster, except for this receiving core. It was the worst in the last 10 years by drop metrics last year. Xavier Leggett is the pick out of South Carolina, someone that I've seen play over the last few seasons, several times in person, covered. Runaway speed, runaway potential, good route tree. He got size. He's got everything that I'd like. He's kind of a Rashee Rice comp, to be honest. And that's who we take.
Ryan, who would you take with who's left? Where are you going?
Well, I had my eye on him, on Leggett. Especially if Worthy is gone. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I've watched all 22 of all these guys. I ain't watched a damn thing of none of these prospects. I'm gonna tell y'all that. And none of us know who the Chiefs are actually going to take. But you can make certain hypotheses based on need, based on what has happened in the off season, and based on how this player looks compared to what position that you want.
Sure.
Hence, Rashee Rice. Okay. It is what it is, man. We don't know what's about to happen. We don't know how long he's going to get suspended, whatever. But we've seen in the past what Brett Veach does. Okay. When Tyreek Hill was in trouble,
people forget.
McCole Hardman, he had to go get him. We needed speed. We needed some juice. And we didn't know what the hell was going to happen with Tyreek Hill. So that's why I feel comfortable, and that's why I came to the conclusion that the Chiefs could possibly pick Leggett.
Lance, we need you next because we'll need to even this out.
I know who this is going to be. So.
Well, you guys brought me on the show for a particular reason. It's because you guys know that I'm somebody that likes to stand my ground on things. When I say that I believe something and I'm going to stand by it, and I believe that this is one of the, if not the deepest draft classes with wide receiver that we've ever seen. And because of that, to me, there is no need for the Chiefs to freak out and with their first pick, try to find a wide receiver to make that make sense when they've already this offseason made sure that they have two guys at the top of their wide receiver room while their left tackle position sits vacantly wide open. Yes, people think that our guy, Wanya Morris. Thank you. Wanya Morris is just going to fill in. Guys, the guy graded 55 overall last year. You can say he's a rookie, only started 4 games. I don't want to take the risk of him being the sole guy there. I want him to have legit competition. And what better way to have legit competition to go and get a guy that is built for that in the first round with a first-round pick. And for me, I think the best guy that's still available at that position for the Chiefs to protect the blind side of Patrick Mahomes for the next decade, given the fact I can't trade back, because that's something I would do right here, given some of the names that are still sitting here. But if I'm picking at 32 right now, it is without question I'm taking Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He is 6'8". He is 300, let me check this real quick. He is 22 pounds with almost 35-inch arms and over 10-inch hands. He has the strengths that you want at left tackle, man. I think he's the perfect guy for this Chiefs based on number 32, and then you can go and get your wide receiver at 64, 95. If the Chiefs want to trade around, they will find guys in the second and third round that will absolutely be studs in this offense at wide receiver. Instead of overreacting, you go and get your left tackle for the next decade.
I mean, we did draft 2 second-round wide receivers in McCole Hardman and Sky Moore. We hit on Rashee Rice, although there's been some offseason troubling. So,
real quick. Where would Sky Moore be in this draft class? Honestly, I think he'd be a 4th-round pick. He was a 2nd-round pick in that draft class. In this draft class, he falls way back because of just the talent they have in this draft class.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Yeah. Shane, we'll go to you. I know you have a little like we've come to know when you give like predictions for games. We like to stick to some rule. You don't do rules, Shane. You go outside and you do your own thing, and that's why we love you, my friend. And so we've got to go to you for the Chiefs pick at 32, or what do you have them doing? Because like I said, you don't play by the rules. Do we have Shane?
We
I think
don't.
he's still mad that we were surprised about his Lad McConkey signing or
Well,
draft.
And I'll go with my pick until we can find some semblance if we can get a Shane Williams back on this show. And I can't believe this receiver is still sitting around. And so I've got to take him. You might say Tyler Guyton's there for the taking. You got to take him. Brian Thomas Jr., maybe the fourth best wide receiver in this draft class.
That was a
is sitting right
mistake.
there. And so I've
Well,
got
first, can you hear me, or am I coming in
Thomas Jr.
clearly?
Yeah.
Because I'm having to jump through a bunch of.
We hear you, bub. We hear you.
No, we
Am I-
don't.
Do you still hear me? Yes. or no?
Yeah, we got you.
Do you,
No, he's
do you hear me? I've had to go through.
I think you're cutting in and out there, man. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's
Brian Thomas
our,
Jr. won't be there, so that was a mistake on our part. We dropped that ball. So, but good
Well,
pick. If he had,
we'll holler at Shane after the draft. We'll reconvene with him.
I mean, you
It's
say that, but
windy.
hey, you say that about Brian Thomas Jr., but real quick, I mean, Troy Franklin's still on the list. I mean, there's still names on here that could have easily gone in the first top 15. And this is how the draft goes, man. So I think this is kind of a cool little exercise we're doing here because we just assume these guys will be gone. And then you look at after 32, like, oh, shit, these dudes are still sitting here.
yeah.
That's how the draft goes, man.
So
yeah, and
that's-
this one's a deep draft. There's a lot of people there, and so you can see.
And
people
do you guys now
falling
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you guys see now what I'm saying? The Chiefs could, I'm telling you, somebody's going to fall to 64 or 95, a wide receiver that you did not think was going to fall that far. And you're like,
Or an
oh
offensive
my
tackle.
God.
Yeah.
Well, that too, but that's what I'm saying. I couldn't trade back. So I wanted, if I was going to take a tackle in this draft, I would trade back, honestly, if it's sitting the way it is right now. Because of the fact that Guyton's still sitting there at 32, knowing how nasty this dude is, how perfect he is for this offense, and you have these wide receivers, like you just said, Brian Thomas Jr. and dudes like that falling, Chiefs could trade up for a guy like that in the second round, man.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, maybe you could get a tackle in the second round.
So it's all splitting
You're
hairs
in the
here.
first,
The
yeah.
Chiefs are in a luxury situation, and we should recognize that. And that whatever happens, you trust in the process. And there's nothing that's going to bum me out. Not trading back, not taking a tackle, nothing is going to really bum me out.
So there's our draft for anyone or the people that are still here watching. Yeah, like Clint said, Brian Thomas Jr. probably dropped too far. So Xavier Legette would be great, but if we could trade back, you could probably get him later on. Same thing with some of these linemen. So that's a scenario that hasn't been talked about a lot. The Chiefs trading back and with all the names that are falling and still being able to pick up more assets since they traded a 6 for McCole Hardman during the season last year, maybe get that back, another 5th or something, moving back a little bit. So that's something to keep your eye on as we'll be in Detroit covering that, and maybe a little sad if they move back, but that's how it goes.
Shane, do we have a chance for your pick?
Really quick, can you hear me? Yes or no?
Yes.
We got you.
Okay, my internet's real shaky. I have the Chiefs trading out with the Colts from 32 to 46, and with the 46 overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs take Xavier Legette.
Got him later.
And
Yes.
Wow, now that would be a steal.
And the second pick in the second round, the Chiefs take Brendan Rice.
Back-to-back receivers? Yes. Shane, my man.
You guys are gonna get me to walk off set right now. You guys are gonna get me to walk off set.
Lance, we
You
tried
might find
to build your
offensive
stupid
line.
offensive line for 4 years.
Wait, hold on, Clint. Hold on. We talked about this, damn it.
I know.
We talked about this, and I broke it down. The last 2 first-round picks the Chiefs used, it was on guys that it worked. It did work on those 2 guys.
Well, it
We
just
can't
shows you
deny
don't
that.
need to do it. I mean, Eric Fisher was 10 years ago, and
But you had 8 seasons with him.
well,
He didn't play left tackle his rookie season at all.
I get it, but I'm saying he played 8. Okay, left tackle was taken care of when and he wasn't even what he. Let's be honest, that draft class sucked. He
Well,
would
yeah.
never be
It
the first round pick anywhere else.
13.
He's still panned out, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at right now, if we're looking at this team honestly, yes, I want to see this team take, because I'm talking about trading back so you get more picks. The Chiefs can double dip at wide receiver in this draft, but I'm looking at the needs right now. And we can't we can't sit here and not acknowledge the fact that right now the Chiefs have 2 reliable wide receivers and they have 0 reliable left tackles. And we know, if we're breaking it down, the importance of position, left tackle is far more important than wide receiver in this league, especially when you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes.
Just don't agree with that at all. I mean, what we know, the Chiefs had the worst receiving core in the league last year. Where did their offensive line rank?
I get it. My point though is the
We
Chiefs
don't know.
they still had Rashee Rice last season. If they don't have Rashee Rice,
They may not.
That's what I'm saying. He was a 2nd-round pick. Last year. You're talking about last season. They had a 2nd-round pick wide receiver that emerged and became their best and only good wide receiver, and they won the Super Bowl. They made Patrick on left tackle. You can't keep doing that and expecting that to work. Patrick Mahomes can make wide receivers better than what they're. That's what I'm saying. There's not a need for them to take a 1st-round pick.
Orlando Brown, we tried to go through. There was your 1st-round pick. We got you one with Orlando Brown. We got you Joe Tooney, $80 million. We got you Juwan Taylor, $80 million. What the hell are we doing? Throwing the resources at this line.
As Patrick ages, you're going to want to make sure that you protect him longer so he can. What we were talking about just 30 minutes ago about how long he can play. We know you got to keep the man healthy. I want to see them take wide receivers, but like I said, this is a deep wide receiver class, which means you can be patient and find yourself a wide receiver 1 in this class. You can't say that for certainty about tackle.
My only pushback to that is they didn't if we had DK Metcalf and George Pickens on this team, I'd give you your tackle, but we don't. They screwed those picks up, and so I can't give you your tackle.
Do they not have 2 reliable receivers right now, though?
They have 1.5.
But we don't know the extent of what Rashee Rice is going to suffer.
We don't.
We don't. That's my point, though. So for all we know, he's going to play all season.
Tyreek, so
he ain't playing all season, bro.
I get it. My point. Okay, but did we say that about Frank Clark 2 years ago? We didn't know. He's going to be suspended all season.
This ain't the same, man. They got him on video.
Okay. All right.
True.
The Chiefs took Donovan Smith last year after the draft. They could take Donovan Smith after the draft this year and have him compete with Wanya Morris.
I would love that, Shane. Thank you for bringing that up. That's my number 1 scenario. Lance, we won the Super Bowl with it. We won the Super Bowl with Donovan Smith at left tackle.
Like I said,
that's your criteria, right?
If you guys want to play retread at left tackle, the most important position on offense on the entire offensive line, that's fine. I don't see it that way. I want to protect Patrick Mahomes and then go and get guys in this draft. This is a deep wide receiver class. If it wasn't, I would be on your guys' side and say, hey, listen, there's only like 5 or 6 receivers in the entire draft class that's worth the damn. You got to go and get one. There's about 20. So there's guys that are going to be there at 64 and 95 that the Chiefs can go get. And if they really want a guy bad enough, we've seen them trade up for guys before. And these are guys that are better this time around than they were 2 years ago when they took Sky Moore. We've seen the Chiefs take risk at wide receiver before. Why would we think that they wouldn't do anything like that again in the 2nd or 3rd round when they've done it? They traded a 3rd-round pick for Kadarius Toney. So they've done this stuff before. Brett Veach has been a very intentional guy. When was the last time he took a 1st-round wide receiver?
I agree with you that it's probably going to be tackle. This is just what I would do. Yeah.
And why is that? What's the logic behind that? To protect Patrick Mahomes, because to your point about Joe Tooney and all these other pieces, there are a lot of guys in this offensive line, and the next year they may not be here. We're talking about 2 to 3 pieces. So you better go and solidify some pieces while you can
go through
on
this
rookie deals.
all the time. Like, this is all what we've done since Super Bowl 55 is, well, this isn't good enough. Eric Fisher was hurt, and we have to have Rimmers playing left tackle. We got to rebuild your line. We did it in 2021. We let Orlando Brown go. Donovan Smith. I mean, what do we? This is all splitting hairs because it's the best organization in football.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to have something, I guess. And
they're showing us what they're showing us what they're doing because they overcorrected on building the offensive line, and then it worked. And the reason why Orlando Brown isn't here anymore is because they couldn't get a contract in place. He wanted more guaranteed money. They offered him 2 different $100 million deals. That's the only reason why he's not here anymore. They wanted to keep Orlando Brown because they invested in him heavily by giving up a 1st-round pick. So that is essentially you taking him in the 1st round. So now you have to replicate that in order to maintain success and keeping Patrick Mahomes healthy. That's the point I'm saying. So I'm not against what you guys are saying about taking a wide receiver. I want one as soon as possible, but we know at least I feel there is a much bigger need. And like you just said, Noah, you believe it's going to be tackle. That's because the Chiefs have been building their team intentionally the same exact way for years. And they have never valued wide receiver over protecting Patrick Mahomes.
I just think Brett Veach watches the show and he doesn't like me. And so he knows I love the receiver position more than anything in the world. And so he's going to stick tackle. That's my thought process behind it. I don't think it has anything to do with
this is a rich, heavy draft when it comes to offensive tackles. This is a rich, heavy draft when it comes to offensive tackle. So
and it's twice as heavy. It's
likely.
twice as rich at wide receiver. It's twice as rich at wide receiver, brother. I promise you.
And it's fun to sit around and debate and pontificate this. This is why we're here talking about it, and it's fun debate.
Absolutely. This is the blast, man.
I think top centers in the league. You've got $80 million tied up in a right tackle that's setting a record for penalties. I don't think that offensive line. You talk about Patrick Mahomes. You've seen some of the rummies out here. Donovan Smith just went a whole year with a tackle group that was, I don't know, was it among the worst? Was it among the best? I don't know, but I do know that the receiving core was the worst that I've ever seen. So with my eyes telling me that, I think that we can see
we don't know what's happening with Rasheed, and Hollywood Brown has had some inconsistencies or health issues. So, I mean, I just like to get another, and I'll give you your tackle in the second round. It's not like I'm saying don't draft a tackle.
We're splitting hairs. It's splitting
absolutely.
hairs.
First, second, first. We're splitting hairs on where we think these should go, because that's what you have to do with this Chiefs organization. Like Clint likes to say, they're out here doing whatever they want and still winning Super Bowls. Oh, this receiving core sucks. This offensive line is not great. We're still winning Super Bowls. So, but it's a fun debate, like Shane said, splitting hairs, talking
because
about.
we're in a tough position. Arrowhead Allies is a tough place to be, because we have to come in, we have to entertain people, and we have to disagree, and we have to have moments when the Chiefs are by far the best organization in professional sports. Yeah,
it sucks to be us, doesn't it, Clint?
It sucks to be us.
I know people probably think, what the hell you guys bitch? You got nothing to bitch about.
This is the fun part, man.
Well, you guys got to go to my.
This is called vested interest right here, guys. We are all in this shit, man. We want this. We want to see this team continue to win. That's why we care this much.
Heck yeah. And good point, Lance. Hey, you guys are going to be doing some interviews in Miami this weekend, and you're going to be at the draft next week. You know, we'd like to do our NFL draft breakdown show 2 weeks from today. So, you know, we're definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys get in Miami, as well as the kids you're going to be talking to next week in Detroit at the 2024 NFL draft. I cannot wait.
Yes, that. Thank you.
Yes, we cannot either. We're excited about it. And that does it for this Arrowhead Allies show. We can't thank everybody enough for tuning in, commenting your picks and your thoughts throughout the entire show. Until next time, go Chiefs!